My last 3 meals on repeat, I would have a big old breakfast with like corned beef hash and toast and eggs. I would have tofu pad thai because I literally don't think I could live without tofu pad thai. It's my favorite food. And then like mac and cheese was my childhood favorite food, and that's never gonna ever not be my favorite food too. So
love that. I think that's a really good set of meals.
For breakfast, it would be chicken and waffles. Lunch would be Taco Bell's Grande Nacho, like the extra large nacho, and then a sushi boat for dinner.
That's a huge commitment to do every night. So I don't know if I would go that far. I'm not a huge fan of like maple syrup on my chicken, but I love maple syrup on my waffles. So that's not really up my alley. But I mean, it's popular for a reason, let's be honest.
Breakfast, I'm eating scrambled eggs. For lunch, cheesesteaks. And for dinner, gotta go with pasta.
I'm also a pasta person. I do think I do pasta wrong though. Like I'm a person who likes sort of basic pasta. I'll add like marinara sauce and vodka sauce, but if I were making it, I would just have like pretty plain.
If I could have 3 meals for the rest of my life, I'd do beef and cheese quesadillas, maybe just a chicken salad and pizza.
I'm partial to a pepperoni, but I've also been turned on to like a buffalo chicken.
Cereal. And I hope that means any type of cereal because I love almost all of them. BLTs, the perfect lunch food. I think I would have to go burgers for dinner.
Well, first of all, burger and BLT, that's a lot of carbs. So I might be careful of that. But I feel like burger, there's not a lot of variation. Like you need the meat or some meat substitute. You have the vegetables, you have some sort of sauce. Well, these are some really incredible options. Thank you all so much for these answers. But now it's time to vote for your favorite. So you can go into the chat and you can type vote space and then the number of the answer you love the best. And you can send them to the final round. So that way they can compete to be the weekly champion. Who's it going to be? Sadie. Well, congratulations, Sadie. You are moving on to the final round. So we will see you there and we wish you luck in competing for the weekly championship. But now, fans, we turn it over to you because we have a poll for this question. What meal could you eat for the rest of your life? Are you thinking burgers and fries, spaghetti and meatballs, steak and a salad on the side, or fried chicken and pizza? I thought it would be like chicken and waffles, but no, we're thinking fried chicken and pizza. Burgers and fries. Honestly, I know that I talked bad about it before, but I'm kind of getting turned on to the burger because I think there's a lot of things you can put between those two burger bun slices. Yeah, I'd say we move right along to our next question of the week. This is from Saturday. Ooh, okay, so we're moving away from the meal side of the week and we're moving into the celebrity chefs. We're asking, pick anyone living or dead to cook with for 2 hours. Who is it and what are you making? I think this is tough because there's 2 different ways you can go about it. You can choose someone who like would have a fun meal, or you can choose someone who would be a good time. I think for me, I would have to choose Megan Thee Stallion. I'm going the good time route. I think she's a person who's a lot of fun. I think that we would have a ball. She would, break out some. I know that she's good at freestyle rapping, so maybe she can freestyle rap while we're cooking. And also, I feel like she's a nerd. I'm a little bit of a nerd. She's a little bit of a nerd. We would bond over our nerddom and just ranting about the things that we're nerds about. So I think that she would be a good time, and I'd be surprised if she didn't have like a good recipe. Someone of that talent, I'd be surprised if they couldn't whip up something. That's just my opinion. Oh, and then what would we be making? Ooh, I have no clue. I'm partial to like, maybe we'd make some pizza because that takes like a good amount of time. Definitely we could make good use of those 2 hours. Or we would make like, maybe we'd make like mac and cheese. I love a good mac and cheese. I feel like I have like a solid recipe, but I need someone who's good to make it with. So I think that Megan Thee Stallion would be a good ally in this case. But that's just my answer to this question. I know a lot of people have some really good variety for this question, a lot of really good answers. So I turn it over to you, viewers. Who would you want to cook with in the kitchen for 2 hours, and what would you be making?
Hi, my name is Jesse Bergen. If I could cook with anyone, it would be Gordon Ramsay because I sincerely believe that he is the best chef alive right now. And I would love to make a nice, like, chocolate lava cake with him, just full of, like, gooey, hot fudge.
Ooh, I think he talked about, like, chocolate cake. That, honestly, That sounds delicious. Like chocolate cake with Gordon Ramsay, because since he's a chef of very high caliber, he's going to have some good recipes. He's going to know how to melt that chocolate just right. He's going to know how to combine it all together. And maybe he'd even have I wouldn't be surprised if he had his own batter recipe. That's he learned it from a kitchen in France. I think he would go in on a chocolate cake. That's a really good option.
One person that I would spend my day or my 2 hours in the kitchen with would be my grandfather. He passed away about 22 years ago this year, and he made the best red pea soup. I'm from the Virgin Islands, so Caribbean dishes, anything would be amazing just to have that time with him again.
That's really sweet, Shanice. Yeah, I think a lot of people would definitely want to bring back their grandparents or some loved one. And also, I think we've talked about this before on the show, but recipes are just such a good way to get to know someone, get to spend time with someone. It leads to some good conversation. So I think that making red bean soup and talking with your grandfather sounds like a great time. Yeah.
I would have to say I would really like Ina Garten. I think we would make great cocktails together, and I think it would just be a lot of fun. She's hilarious, and I love her popped collars.
Well, I think Ina Garten is the Barefoot Contessa. I don't know a lot of her work, but I know her name. I think she makes a bunch of cocktails. Sound off in the chat if you know more. I did not come into the show prepared. Yeah. Ina Garten, though, these celebrity chefs, Gordon Ramsay, Ina Garten, I mean, they're going to be able to give some good conversation, I think, because they're on TV and they are they have to talk and interact with people. So I think that's honestly a very smart, logical response.
Hands down, I would spend my 2 hours with my mom. She passed away 10 years ago, but was a wonderful cook and baker especially, and I have a giant sweet tooth, so making things from her recipe book, albeit not as well as she did, bring me back to my childhood and really good memories with her, so that would be just an incredible 2 hours.
That's so nice. Yeah, I think a lot of these dessert options are also very nice because you can take a lot of time at the beginning and then you just put it in the oven, let it bake, and then you just have that time to just really get into the nitty gritty. So, and Alexis, I think that answer is so sweet. I know everyone's gonna leave the show hungry, but I hope no one wanted to not cry
when
today.
My family came to the United States, my grandma had previously had a very sheltered life, but when she came to America, she ended up having to basically start over. So if I could cook with anybody for 2 hours, it would be her.
Yeah, oh my gosh, that's a great story that I would love to know too. How, isn't that my grandma, she also came from France to the US in during World War II. And so hearing those stories about what it was first assimilating into the country, what it was like over in France at that time, I think are just I can't imagine what the struggle is, but also how interesting those stories can be. I know someone said in the chat, all the feels. This is an emotional question.
I would love to cook with my Haitian grandmother. You feel me? She had passed away a long time ago, but she was amazing at cooking. My mom told me when I was younger, I would love to cook with her with some good Haitian food, rice and chicken, with some fried plantain.
Oh my God. Literally, there's so many grandmother questions or so many grandmother answers, grandparents' answers. But I mean, it's true. I feel like a lot of times your grandparents are the ones who have the really good recipes. There's the whole idea of family recipes that are passed down from generation to generation. So I think cooking, it can be a very emotional topic for a lot of people. But this is such a great question. So many good answers. I don't know how we're going to be able to choose this one, but unfortunately we must. You can choose your answer by voting in chat for your favorite one. Type vote space and then the answer that you loved. And you can send that person to the final round. It's really a battle of the grandparents in this question. So I don't know how you're going to choose. I think my answer would probably have to be, I did like the Ina Garten answer. It's got to be one of the grandparents or parents though. How could you compete with that? Unfair. Yeah, the grandparent one. It's so good, so sad, but also so good. Yeah, and it's all about reclaiming time. We did mention the title of the question. You can do anyone living or dead. So it's definitely an opportunity to catch up with loved ones, have that time that you maybe didn't even have when that person was alive. Ooh, I can't talk too much more about it. It's gonna make me cry. I know that everyone in the chat is probably like getting out. I'm literally like getting out the tissues right now, just having to like dab my eyes. But yeah, this is such a great answer, Demetrius. You totally deserve this win, and we will see you in the final round. We wish you luck. But for now, it's time to turn it over to you, viewers. Who would you spend 2 hours in the kitchen with, and what are you making? You can make childhood snacks with mom or dad. You can make a luxury cuisine with a famous chef. You can make cupcakes with your friends, or you can make ratatouille with Remy the Rat. We got into living or dead, but we never got into fictional. And yet people, I think, yeah, childhood snacks with mom and dad. We're going to talk a little bit more about snacks later on in the show, but I don't think there's a way that you could beat the childhood snacks that your parents make when you're younger. You know, the PB&Js, if there's like a special type of pastry or dessert that your parents made, or maybe, they just got Cheetos or Cheez-Its from the store and you want to make a homemade version of that. I've seen those recipes online. I would love to make some of those with my parents. That would be really interesting to see how they compare. But yeah, this is a really great question. Thank you all so much for your answers. I'd say we move right along to our next question of the week. Oh, this is from Sunday. If you could choose your last meal, what would you have to eat? Talk about big questions. Yeah, we're coming out the gate with the heavy hitters today. Yeah, this is a really good question. Very few people get to choose what they have for their last meal. But this is a good opportunity. If there's one that you really want to have, maybe it's like you want to have a feast, a smorgasbord. If you want to try something new, if you want to have like a comforting fave, I personally would want to have, speaking of burgers from earlier, I would want to have a really amazing burger. Like a really juicy. There's a restaurant near my house that used to sell a $20 burger. It was like this tall, not even joking. It was like the 2 patties and had a bunch of stuff in it. And maybe like a good side of fries. That would be my last meal. I'm going out on top. I'm going out with like the best thing that I could possibly ask for. And I think that's it. You can't really beat it. But that's just me. I know that there's a lot of cuisine in the world and a lot of cuisine that people love. So I'm turning it over to you, fans. If you could choose your last meal, what would you have to eat?
So if I was on death row and had the last meal, I would like to think I would pick something nice and fancy, but probably something awful for me like McDonald's or just like really bad for you food that's so delicious that you shouldn't eat, but I mean, why not, right?
Kind of what I was talking about with the burger, right? Where it's like, it's just bad. It's bad for you, but also, why do I care? It's my last meal. Exactly. Yeah. Someone said, why not? It's no one's going to judge you. That's not going to have any adverse effects. You're done.
Last meal would definitely include like boxed mac and cheese, but not the like boring Kraft macaroni ones. I believe that those boxed mac and cheese types where the pasta is like shaped in like a fun way are objectively better. Just the texture makes it taste so much better, whether it's like based off like some kids movie or TV show or some promotion like that. Ever since I started living on my own, I realized that I can actually get whatever I want from the grocery store. So I buy the Paw Patrol mac and cheese. I hope that they think I have kids when I'm checking out. I don't. But that is probably my favorite food. And that was what I would get as my last meal.
Love. Yeah, I think that's the other part of it that we didn't talk about. It's like you're not just dipping into the unhealthy foods, you're dipping into the stuff that like you might get judged socially for having. So like kids mac and cheese, like who cares if you're having Paw Patrol mac and cheese? Like who cares? It doesn't really matter. And if it tastes good to you, that's what matters.
So if I was on death row, my last meal definitely would be one of my mom's cooking, like one of her meals that she's done. But if it weren't something from my parents, it would definitely be crawfish. I love crawfish. I love seafood boil. I love like anything like seafood boil. I don't really like seafood, but I love seafood boil foods like the corn, sausage, shrimp, anything. That would be my last meal.
Mm. Yeah, I'm iffy on seafood, honestly. I like the shrimp. I do really like some like good cocktail shrimp, but like the lobster and the crab, I'm not entirely sold on. I think it's a little bit too chewy for me. But also, I am very curious about this infamous or not infamous, famous seafood boil from V Diaz's mom, because maybe who knows, maybe everything is so perfect that it'll change my mind, or maybe maybe it'll ruin seafood boil because nothing will compare to it. Overall, I think that's a really good last meal. You always find your way back home, as they say.
I would just get a burger. I get a classic burger and tons of ranch. I am a ranch person, like, till death. I love it. I love ranch. And if it's my last meal, I better have a gallon of Hidden Valley right next to the burger.
Mm. Mm. Love. Yes, I don't think I used to be a ranch person, but then I think over time I have come to really appreciate ranch. I've come to appreciate what it tastes like. I love ranch. And also, burger to burger guy, I see you.
Death row, my last meal, Five Guys. Boom. I want the big burger, extra cheese, mayo, pickles, freaking raw onions, green peppers, jalapeno peppers, and don't forget a little mustard on there. And I'm gonna get the fries Cajun style with the sweet tea. That would be my death row meal. Beautiful. I lick my fingers after that juicy burger too.
Mm. 3 burgers. I just goes to show that I don't have many original thoughts on this show, I guess. Yeah, someone mentioned bacon. I think bacon is a necessary part of my final burger. Like bacon, it's bacon, cheese, lettuce, maybe tomato, but definitely bacon. Anyone who doesn't have bacon, I'm like, why not? It's not like it's gonna, once again, if we're worried about the unhealthiness of bacon, yeah, it's your last meal, you don't have to worry about it.
Easy choice. Fried chicken, mashed potatoes, and corn. 3 of my favorite foods to eat all time. And it's not even really that close. The only way it could be better is if I had steak as well. So steak, fried chicken, mashed potatoes, and corn on the cob.
Hmm. Honestly, I would probably have the fried chicken over the steak. Like, I think for me, unless it's a filet mignon, I think I would, because the chicken doesn't have a lot of fat. If I'm going to have a last meal, I want to have every single bite of that meal. And it seems like if I have like a steak, like a ribeye, then there's going to be a lot of extra stuff that I'm not a huge fan of. And chicken sandwiches, just fried chicken generally, mashed potatoes too, love. It's just you're going to be able to eat every single bite of it. So I really support that option. Well, once again, as with all of these questions, there's a lot of really good answers. I don't know how you all are going to vote for your favorite answer, but unfortunately, you're going to have to. You can do that by voting in the chat by typing vote space and the answer you love the most. I have no clue. I literally have no clue. This is such a difficult question. I think the fact that there were 3 burgers says a lot. But also that chicken answer is good. Mac and cheese. I think Freddie encompasses all of it with something really unhealthy. I don't know. Let's see who the fans decide. As he said, you want the big burger with the sweet tea. I haven't had the Cajun fries, but I think if it's crunchy on the outside, chewy on the inside, it's good. But yeah, I think add bacon into it, and that is the perfect last meal. Love Five Guys is so good. Like I think that one is like top tier fast food. I think, and yeah, you can't really go wrong with a good Five Guys burger. But congratulations, Ill Options. You are going on to the final round, and you're going to be competing to be our weekly champion for the week. Excited to see how you do. But for now, fans, we turn it over to you. What would you have for your last meal? Would you have comfort food like pizza, burgers, or fries? Are you having girl dinner, which is a combination of cheese, meats, and bread, something new, something off your bucket list? Or are you going out and you're just, getting something fancy with your friends? And it's all about the experience. Whoa. Okay, so it's neck and neck. Meal out is just beaten by comfort food with burgers, fries, and pizza, which I honestly, I agree. I think there's no other way to slice it other than to go completely unhealthy, have like a huge meal that you gorge on, because there's going to be no other time when you're able to do that and there's no consequences. You're just going to be able to go out, you're just going to do it. I think that's perfect. Yes, I completely support you all. Your decision. Thank you all so much for voting, and thank you fans for sending in your answers. I think now it's time to go to the next question. This is for Monday. Ooh, okay. So we are getting into the best way to make a cup of coffee. It's a pretty perfect question for Monday, because I know that on Mondays I need a special pick me up, and so I'm gonna get a coffee. I think the perfect way to do it is, honestly, I would go to Dunkin' Donuts and I would get their caramel craze specialty latte, because it has all the good add-ons, has such a good taste. And more importantly, they add copious amounts of whipped cream on top with like the caramel drizzle. And that's huge. I like coffee, but the add-ons are what really, honestly, my coffee is more add-ons than actual coffee for me personally. But that's just me. I know that a lot of people like it black, but I like mine with a packed with flavor. Let's just say. But that's just me. Once again, I know that there's a lot of different brands of coffee. I know that there's a lot of different add-ons that people can use. Everyone has their own way of making coffee. So let's turn it over to you viewers. What is your favorite way to make a cup of coffee?
It all depends on the roast. I mean, you could put a lot of creamer in, but you have to have a healthy medium, because too much creamer might be a little too sweet. That's my personal opinion.
As a person who likes their coffee very sweet, it's sort of like in Mean Girls, the limit does not exist. It can never get too sweet for me, and that is very much a me thing. But that's the purpose of the question. I also don't know a lot about the roasts, so maybe people who are more coffee connoisseurs, they can fill me in on how important that really is.
Life hack. You clean that Keurig, use filtered water, use fresh coffee. Then my little trick is you dump a bunch of milk in it and then a bunch of creamer.
I don't clean my Keurig a lot, and I use water fresh from the sink, not filtered. Maybe I should invest in a Brita. Maybe I should invest in one of those, because I know that in some sinks they have like those attachments, like Brita sells attachments that go on your sink faucet. And so it comes out of the sink filtered. Maybe that's what I need to do. But Tara, I'll take your word for it.
So I never was really a big fan of coffee until I started watching Emma Chamberlain, and she has her own coffee line. So I bought that, and it's so much better than anything I've tasted.
Sometimes those celebrity brands, they make a difference. I feel like also I would trust Emma Chamberlain, because she seems like the person who would make a good coffee. She seems like someone I would trust on that avenue. Also, it just reminded me, I don't know why I just thought of this. I changed my answer for In the Kitchen with Who. I'm going with Chappell Roan. I'll explain later.
Okay. The best cup of coffee, I'm going to teach you how to do it. You're going to need 6 5-hour energies, 6-hour energies if they have them, and if they have 7-hour energy black bottle, even better. You want to pour this into your coffee, and then you immediately stir up the coffee and down it in less than 10 seconds. That's how you make a perfect cup of coffee. Add a few couple shots of espresso in too. Might help.
Not espresso. That sounds like a perfect way to like literally have one cup of coffee and be set for the rest of your life. You will never sleep again. You will have endless energy. I don't even want to know what that would do to you. I think you would probably, as people are talking about heart attacks, you would have a heart attack like immediately afterwards. You would be hospitalized. Also send in the chat, has anyone had like a 5-hour energy? Like I've had like Red Bull before. Like I've had the energy drinks, but I haven't had a 5-hour energy before. And I need to know what that does to you, because if it's that in this cup of coffee times 5, scary.
Making the perfect cup of coffee is super easy. So here's my life hack. Get your favorite iced coffee at any store. Get a cup full of ice. Put your coffee in. Put any of your favorite creamer, anything. get caramel and or chocolate drizzle, or maybe even a flavored drizzle, whatever looks really good with your creamer. Put some cream on top and then drizzle that over the top, and you have a perfect cup of coffee.
That sounds like a caramel craze. I'm an add-on guy. I feel like it's like having the perfect cup of coffee. It can't just be like, oh, I'm just gonna put some black coffee into a cup. Like you need to really spruce it up. It's like going to a fancy restaurant. You know, like if they're gonna add that pizzazz of that extra stuff, maybe not a fancy restaurant, but like honestly, kind of like a Five Guys or like sort of a bar sort of restaurant where it's like they're just gonna add all the tasty stuff into it. That's just what makes it good, in my personal opinion.
When it comes to coffee, freshness is key. So fresh ground is good, but fresh roasted is even better. It's like the difference between a fresh baked cookie and one that was baked a day ago. Completely different. My favorite is a Tasmanian peaberry that's been fresh roasted and then lightly crushed and cold brewed. Cold brewed doesn't kill any of the caffeine or the flavor, so you get that great punch, great flavor, and the greatest cup of coffee, in my opinion. Fresh roasted, cold brewed.
Okay, this guy's the expert. Yeah, what do you say? Tasmanian peaberry. I don't like. He must have gone to college for this. Like, he must be like a professional chef, like working in a 5-star restaurant who just knows like the perfect thing to pair. It's like I know there's someone on TikTok who will like talk about the perfect cheeses to go with different drinks. Who literally is like, oh, you're having a Mountain Dew. Here's the type of cheese you want. He sounds like that, but for coffee, where he's like, oh, if you're having Cheerios for breakfast, you want this type of coffee. If you're having 2 scrambled eggs, if you want this type of coffee. If you're having pizza for breakfast, here's the type of coffee. Like I trust him fully. But that's just me. I turn it over to you. Who do you think has the perfect cup of coffee? You can vote now in the chat by typing vote space and then your favorite answer. I don't even know who you're going to choose. I personally really love number 6. I mean, if you want endless energy, you can do number 4. If you think that it's all about the add-ons, Frank or Tara sounds good. And if you're a really big fan of Emma Chamberlain, then maybe you go with number 3 for Vivian. I don't even know. Who are you all going to choose? I'm so curious. The winner is, yeah, fair enough. Rev Wills. I mean, he just sounds like such an expert. Like he's bringing you the specific roast of the coffee. He has all of the tips and tricks. I'm sure that he like has insider information from all of the coffee companies. It's like people who stock trade in their spare time. He's like learning how to do coffee perfectly. You know what he would do? I know that there are people on TikTok. There's one barista who's really big on TikTok who does like espresso competitions where they'll like they'll have like a whole presentation about coffee and they do like these tournaments to like see who has like the best presentation, who has the best cup of coffee. It's like barista competitions. So I think that Rev Willis is like a judge for that. He must have competed in those. I don't know, but Rev Wills, well-deserved win. We'll see you in the final rounds for sure. Well, now we turn it over to you. What is the key to making a good coffee in your opinion? Is it the roast? Is it the add-ins? Do you like your coffee from a certain cafe? I like mine from Dunkin', but that's just me. Or are you not a coffee person? You're just like, I don't really like coffee. It's whatever. I prefer tea. Ooh, it's the roast. Okay. I think that's what the sort of the vibe that I've been getting from Rev Wills, from Zach, is that it's about the roast. I honestly, maybe I just need to drink more coffee, but I don't notice the difference that much. That's just me. That's just me. Well, everyone, this was such a good question. Thank you all so much for your tips. I'll be sure to integrate them into my next cup of coffee. But for right now, it's time. It's time to go on to the next question. Oh, Moshen Nazari. Hello. Thanks for joining in the show. Oh, perfect question. Show us the weirdest thing in your refrigerator. Oh, I love this question. So many people have so many weird things in their fridge. I've been watching the answers, and some people, just the things that they have are crazy. I don't think for me there's anything super weird. I think the weirdest thing is I have those jade rollers, like those things that you like roll over your face and they're supposed to like clear your skin. They're supposed to like reduce puffiness and stuff. So I have that in my fridge because you're supposed to, actually they're in my freezer because you're supposed to keep them really cold so they work best. But that's just me. And that's for a practical purpose. But maybe there's something in your fridge that has no purpose. Maybe it's something in your fridge that you just forgot you had in there. We'll see. Yeah, I think without further ado, what is the weirdest thing in your refrigerator? And keep in mind, it says show us. So we're expecting not just a good talk, but we're expecting you to show. So show and tell time.
Okay. I'm going to show you the weirdest thing in my refrigerator. Keep in mind, this is at my studio that I took over from my great uncle, and he built this studio years ago. But this is the weirdest thing in the fridge. A dirty Dr. Pepper can, okay? Diet Dr. Pepper. The expiration date on the can is, expiration date on the can is September 7th, 2009. It's 2022. It's a dirty Dr. Pepper can. Why does this exist?
$15 at this point, 15 years ago. Why does that exist? Like, you should have drunken that. You should have thrown it out, something. But just to keep it in the fridge for that long, what are you doing? I want to drink it. I really want to drink it now because I'm desperate to know, what does a almost like over a decade old soda taste like? I mean, it's been in the freezer, so maybe it tastes totally fine because it's been like cryogenically frozen. But London, make another follow-up. I want to see what it tastes like.
So I don't really have, like, I took it out of my fridge, but it'd be this moldy pizza. Oh gosh, it's got colonies in there. I am going to throw this away right after this video. Yet this is a biohazard. This is the weirdest thing in my fridge, I gotta say. Ugh.
Oh, that's disgusting. Throw the whole container out. No, that's wild. That's too much. Like, I know that sometimes I'll let a food get moldy, but at that point, you just gotta restart. Start from scratch, make a new sandwich, something. That's on a par with like Chernobyl in terms of dangerousness.
Okay, so the weirdest thing in my fridge, don't judge me. So I had a baby, right? And I heard that eating your placenta is good for not catching postpartum depression. So I actually took my placenta home and I encapsulated the pills myself, dried it out, and that's my placenta. It's actually in the freezer, but yeah.
Honestly, less judgment than moldy food. Because I feel like this was like, it's a deliberate act. Yeah, it's a deliberate act. It's a little bit maybe off kilter. I've never heard of other people doing it, but I mean, she's heard it from other people. You know, she's put in the heart. She's done it deliberately. Also, I'm impressed that she like encapsulated it herself. Like, honestly, it's less weird and more just kind of impressive. Like, and you know what? Do what you need to do. Postpartum is rough. So, however, whatever helps to alleviate it, I say do it.
The weirdest thing in my refrigerator, nothing too weird, but this one is a bag of a bunch of different sauces like ketchup, soy sauce, some Shin ramen packets, maybe some mustard as well.
Mm-hmm. Where is everyone? Comment in the chat. Where is your sauce bag, or where do you keep all of the plastic sauces? Because I do the same thing. Like, whenever I order out Chinese food, I'll like keep the duck sauce and the soy sauce packets like in a cupboard. You know, I think once again, not really weird, just sustainable. You know, it makes sense. If you're gonna not need it now, maybe you'll use it later. Who knows?
Okay, so I couldn't take you to my fridge because my kid's up there napping and I didn't want to wake him up by talking in the kitchen. But the weirdest thing in my fridge is this hacked up tomato top right now because my son, my 3-year-old, he loves to help me prep dinner. And so I got him some like toddler safe knives, and last night we were slicing tomatoes, so you know I did my tomato slices and I let him work on this. And I put mine in my Tupperware and he puts his in his, and we stick them in the fridge. And then so like when his dad comes home and he's picking tomatoes for his burger, he will pick my son's, and then he'll compliment me. Oh, hey mom, you sliced these perfectly. These look great. And it's just so fun to watch my son's face light up, because he's so proud that someone thought that an adult did what he did. And I don't know, it's just really cute to watch him be like, no dad, I did it. And yeah, so that is at any given day you can find some weirdly chopped vegetable in my fridge.
Once again, I think that's also weird, but it's also kind of charming. It's childhood enrichment. You're teaching them about the importance of self-reliability. You're teaching them a lot. I think this is understandable, though. It's like, it's just a fun thing you do with your kids. Who doesn't want to do something fun with their kids?
All right, so the weirdest thing in my refrigerator is a bunch of wieners. Pretty empty fridge because I just moved into a new place, and who doesn't need some wieners when you move in?
Ha 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 ha. A bunch of wieners. Yeah, I mean, who doesn't want? I also, wait, I don't know if this is just me, but I saw 2-packs, which I feel like it's like, okay, but I have like a downstairs fridge and like an upstairs fridge. I don't know. I've never had 2-packs of wieners in my fridge, but also, can't judge too much. You're moving in, so it's everything's sort of in the fray. And maybe later on, the fridge will become a lot more normal and a lot more fully stocked. So you'll get a pass this time, Steven. Then everyone, it's time to vote. It's time to vote for who you think has the weirdest fridge. Are you going with a dirty Dr. Pepper can from literally the late 2000s? Are you going with the moldiest food I've ever seen? You're going with placenta pills, sauce packet bags, sliced up tomatoes, or are you going with a bunch of wieners? Wiener. Go ahead and vote in the chat by typing vote space and then your answer. And we will let you know how everyone did and who won in just a second. Ooh, a dirty Dr. Pepper can. Nice. Yeah. I support. I think that is very easily the weirdest one, because if it was just a regular Dr. Pepper can, it wouldn't be fine. But the fact that it's so old, the fact that no one has thought to drink it or throw it out in 15 years at this point, I wonder if it's still in the fridge. London, I hope you drink it, or if it's not safe, I hope you don't drink it. But I hope that we can eventually find out what it tastes like, because I am the most curious that one could possibly be. Well, this was an incredible answer. Thank you so much, London. We'll see you in the final round. We're turning over to you, fans, for a poll. What is the weirdest thing you can find in your fridge? Is it spoiled or rotten food? Is it house items like glasses or keys? Huh. Is it empty cans or containers? Or is your fridge completely normal? Which, you know what? I highly doubt it. Okay. I don't believe you. I'm sorry. Listen, I know everyone has something weird in their fridge, and maybe it's normal to you, but maybe for other people it's a little bit more off kilter, or maybe people are just too ashamed. But also, it's a poll. Don't be afraid to admit to some things. I admitted to having a jade roller. You never know. People are weird. People are weird. I think we always talk about how you always have the face of presenting to the world a normal person, and then you have the internal world that's a lot more weird and wacky and fun. So don't be afraid next time, everyone. Wild assumptions. Well, this was another really good question. Thank you all so much for your answers. We'll move on to Wednesday's question. Ooh, I mentioned junk food. What's a junk food you just cannot for the life of you live without? This is a good question. There's a lot of really good junk food out there that I don't know if I could live without at all. So we'll see what people have said. I think for me, honestly, I'll say Funyuns. Funyuns and pretzels are my two. I think pretzels are more widely available than Funyuns, and a good pretzel that could crunch, love it. Funyuns are really good. And I know that literally I take them in my hand and the amount of grease that I have, I'm like, oh, there's no way this is healthy. But also, it's just so good. I don't really care. I can plow through a whole bag. They're good for car trips. I can plow through a whole bag on a car trip. I stand by Funyuns. They're really good. And I tried Takis the other day. I've tried other junk foods, and they just don't compare to Funyuns. Funyuns are my love. So that's something that I just couldn't live without. But fans, this is not about me. This is about you. Oh, beef jerky. Someone in the chat just said beef jerky. Beef jerky is so good. Honestly, I think that might be the second option for me. Behind Funyuns is like beef jerky or like a Slim Jim. Love a Slim Jim. But once again, this is not about me. This is about you fans. So I'm asking you, what junk food could you not live without? Yeah.
What is a junk food you just can't live without? Easy. Sour Patch Kids. Love them. They're sour and then they're sweet. If you go to the movies, they're great to eat with your popcorn. You just go from salty to sweet to sour. Sour Patch Kids. Easy.
Sour Patch Kids are so good. Yeah, I didn't really talk a lot about candy, but there's a lot of really good candy out there. I personally would go a little bit more sour than Sour Patch Kids, but I like the taste. Sour, sweet, and then gone.
There are a numerous amounts of junk food that I enjoy that I like to keep around every now and then. However, hell of a good French onion dip is so good, man. Have that with some ruffled chips. You just can't beat it. I'm more of a savory man myself, and that just hits right.
That's not really a junk food, is it though? But it is really good. You can pair it with junk food like chips, and various other things. So I think that's a good answer. And just a good dip makes or breaks a good junk food, in my opinion.
What's a junk food I can't live without? It's popcorn, 100%. Like normal popcorn, butter popcorn, caramel popcorn, whatever it may be. I feel like I'm always snacking on popcorn at some point. Anytime I watch a movie at home, I need to get popcorn, so I don't think I could live without that.
Ooh. I completely forgot about popcorn, and I think popcorn, that might be... Actually, yeah, that might take actually the spot from Funyuns. Popcorn is so good. A good movie theater popcorn, all the butter, the salt. I can literally, multiple times I've gone to the movie theater and I have literally cleared an entire like large popcorn bucket by myself. Sometimes it's literally, if the movie is late enough, I would count it as my dinner because it's just so filling. Maybe that's too honest. But yeah, popcorn is so good. Hannah, I completely stand behind you. I might recommend try making your own popcorn because that can also be really good, and you can get to control what you put on it. So, word of wisdom.
Personally, PB&J, but like peanut butter in general are just great, especially like Skippies and Jif. Those kind of like fake, kind of peanut butter are just like I can't resist.
I feel like PB&J. I think that counts. I think maybe it's on the edge of like sandwich. It's definitely, one could argue it's very unhealthy. It's very sweet. It's very tasty. The bread, depending on the type of bread, it can be very good too. I support you. Yeah, I would have to ask though, what kind of bread are you thinking of? Because we have the peanut butter, which I think chose the right option. Also, what jelly? There's a lot of questions, so we might need a follow-up video.
Funyuns, man. Can't live without Funyuns. I know that might be the worst chip that you could eat. It might be the unhealthiest chip out there, but it's my favorite. And every time we go on a road trip, always get Funyuns. It's tradition now.
Yes. Love a good road trip. Once again, I think literally everything he said is what I said. A road trip, it's definitely very unhealthy. You can feel it and when you take a bite, but it's so good. I completely stand behind you, Brandon. Full support. Well, everyone, this has been an incredible
All right, it's going to be like dark chocolate. I don't eat it all that often, but like it's just one of those things when I crave it, and then I eat like a whole block in a day, and then I don't need it for a while. But that's probably the main junk food that I really enjoy eating, and yeah, couldn't live without.
I honestly am not the hugest fan of dark chocolate. I'm more of a milk chocolate person, but I have heard people who love dark chocolate. They stand behind it. I also heard that it might be like a little bit of a healthier chocolate. So if you're looking for more of a healthy junk food, that's the option for you. Yeah, I stand behind you. A good chocolate, a good candy, you can eat that for hours and never get tired of it. Well, everyone, this was a really good question. I don't know how you're going to decide. I guess it depends on if you're a candy person or a savory person. But vote now in the chat for which answer you love the most. You can vote by typing vote space and then your favorite answer. So good. Yeah, I think I would personally stand behind. I love popcorn from Hannah, obviously Funyuns from Brandon. A good candy, like a good Sour Patch Kid or a dark chocolate, I could definitely get behind. Um, yeah, I'm very curious to see who people are going to choose. Funyuns. Thank you all for the support. I appreciate it. But Funyuns are definitely, those are really good. Yeah, they're good. You can like put them a bag like on the passenger seat next to you and just ride with your Funyuns. Brandon, I appreciate the solidarity. And I appreciate the fact that knowing that they're really awful for you for sure, but it's junk food. When is junk food not going to be awful for you? It's just a matter of how awful. But we will see you in the final round, which is coming up in just 2 more questions, or just 1 more question, actually. So we'll see you then, and we wish you luck. Now we have a poll for you all. What is a junk food you just cannot live without? Are you a fast food type of person? Are you a potato chip kind of person? Do you love ice cream? Or are you considering coffee and drinks junk food, and you're an iced coffee person? Ooh, okay. So people, yeah, fast food and then coffee. But yeah, I think stuff like McDonald's, stuff like Wendy's, stuff like Burger King, that it's just so bad for you, but it's so good. A good chicken McNugget. I used to love chicken McNuggets back in the day. It would just, I would literally have like a 20 piece all to myself and just completely destroy the whole thing. So I can't complain. But this is such a good question. I hope you all have a lot of junk food today, but not too much that you get sick. For now, we move on to our next question, the last question of the week. This is today's question. What is a food they make where you live that you just can't get anywhere else? Local food, I feel like every town has some local food that they just do better than everyone else. I think for me, I live in New Jersey, and if there's one thing New Jerseyans do not play about, it is bagels. I know as a New Jerseyan that we have the best bagels. Maybe in New York, yeah, they're also pretty good bagels. I don't know what it is. Just in New Jersey, they make them so much better. Going to the local bagel shop down the street, you'll get a perfect bagel, add some ham and some eggs and some cheese on there, add some butter on top. Oh, you're golden. You're gonna do it. I'm partial to an everything bagel specifically, but really any bagel that you get in New Jersey is going to be better than any bagel you can get anywhere else, in my opinion. But that's just my hometown. I know that a lot of people have some really good food in their hometowns, and we're going to hear all about them. So, fans, I ask you, what is the food that they make where you live that you just can't get anywhere else?
Here in Chicago, they make hot dogs, which you can get with everything, which means without ketchup. Or if you ask, you can get them with ketchup and with a heavy side helping of scorn.
Yeah, I've heard about this ketchup debate where it's like they really don't like ketchup on their burgers, or sorry, on their hot dogs. And I used to really love ketchup, I'll be honest. I used to be a ketchup person, absolutely. I think I honestly have moved on more to mustard. I'm a mustard person. I am maybe like not a ranch. I think definitely mustard, like a honey mustard. Love it. But I'm not like waging war against ketchup like Chicagoans seem to. Maybe that's just me.
I'm in California, and we have In-N-Out, so we're already kind of winning there. I mean, In-N-Out's a very fast and efficient way to get a burger, and it's an amazing food item to get. You get animal style. Highly recommend.
Okay. I haven't tried In-N-Out yet because I haven't been to the West Coast, but everyone that I've talked to who's been to the West Coast or who's lived on the West Coast stands completely behind In-N-Out. So maybe I need to just rip the Band-Aid off, travel over to the West Coast to get like some In-N-Out burger shipped over here or something so I can finally have my first bite of an In-N-Out burger, because there's no way that everyone it's just got to be incredible. I just know it is in my heart of hearts.
So a food they make where I live that you can't get anywhere else is, personally, I don't have anything special around me, but my mom's cooking. She cooks the best like Filipino food ever. Ask my cousins, ask anyone else. I personally always thought that I was biased because like she's my mom and like her food is automatically better to me than anyone else's. But genuinely, her Filipino food is the best food I've ever had in my entire life, and you just can't get it anywhere else. So.
Yum. Yeah, there's something about home cooked. I think we talked about it earlier. Home cooked meals, they definitely count. And if your family has a specialty, sometimes it just ruins it for it ruins every other version of that meal that you could have, because it's just everything is so good. VD has great answer.
A food that they make where I live that you can't. Okay, first off, let's start over. It's not even a food that we make. It's a food in Southern California that you can't get anywhere else. It's a cut of beef called tri-tip. I think they call it Santa Fe, maybe. They have another name for it. Can't think what they call it. But tri-tip, the cut of beef in Southern California, it's so good. You could smoke it, you slice it nice and thin, make it put on your sandwich. Really good. You can't get anywhere else. That's why Southern California is the best.
That's interesting. I've never heard of a tri-tip, but I'm also firmly planted on the East Coast, so maybe tri-tip is just so good. I am partial to like a filet mignon, but maybe if they have like a tri-tip filet mignon. Oh, they have them in the East too. Oh, so that maybe it's not local. Brian, I need to know. Have you had like an East Coast tri-tip? How is it? We need the follow-up. Once again, we need the follow-up answer.
Where I live, food you can't get anywhere else. Authentic Mexicali food. Mexican, that Tijuana birria, tacos, chimichanga, whatever is Mexican and that is authentic and that is food. San Diego, where I live, it's the only place you can get it. Maybe Texas, but San Diego, that's where people come all over the world just for our Mexican food.
Good point. Yeah. I mean, I would imagine maybe they also have really good food, the Mexican food in Mexico, but Mexicali food, can't deny it, that it's also extremely good. Yeah, I'm also, I think you need to redeem your taste a little bit, Sean, given that you were the same person who said earlier that you add 7-hour energies into your coffee when you get the chance. But I definitely trust you. You know, a good burrito, a good huevos rancheros. Can't deny it. It's really good. It's really good.
We have a place down here in Western North Carolina that's called Rocky's Hot Chicken Shack, and they have the best fried chicken, macaroni and cheese, sweet tea, sweet potato casserole, fried okra. It's just good home Southern cooking, and you can't get that in the North.
No, you can't. Golden Corral, done. You know, the food, I think what happens in the South is they're just not afraid to, I feel like in the North, you might have like, they might try to put some substitutions in there, or they might try to like, just like make it a little bit different. But I think it's like we were talking about earlier with the fast food. It's just like, you can't be afraid to lean in, add in that taste, add in all that savory stuff, add in all the sauces and stuff, really go ham with the flavor. You know, I think that's how you just make all good food. That's a recipe. It's just lean in. I think Southern barbecue food, that they just lean in. The chicken, they just lean in. Can't deny it. I've literally never been hungry in my life. Now we need to choose an answer for what answer made you the hungriest. Vote for your favorite answer in the chat by typing vote space and then your favorite, and we will send them to the final round. Yeah, I think there's so many good local foods. Like I said, every town has some local food. It's just a matter of which one sounds the most appetizing to you. But let's see. I don't even know which one I'm going to choose. I think we also got it from all over the country too. It's the best answer, whether you're from the North, the East, the South, or the West, is homemade food. Congratulations, V. Diaz. This was a really good answer. I hope that your mom sends out her Filipino food recipes, or at the very least starts making a restaurant chain to get the word out. or maybe just, it's something special that you have just for yourself. But congratulations. This was a really good answer, and you are the winner for this question. We will see you in the final round coming up shortly, everyone. But before we do that, we have a poll. What's a food that you can only find in your hometown? Is it Mexicali cuisine, like Sean said? Is it Chicago-style pizza, New York-style cheesecake, or gumbo from New Orleans? Ooh, I've never had gumbo either, but I'm excited. I'm excited to try literally all of these. Oh, and we got Mexicali cuisine is at the top, followed by Chicago-style pizza. Chicago-style pizza, I've heard some things about. I know that there's like a famous TikTok of some guy saying like, where's the cheese? The cheese is supposed to be on top. And another guy is like, it's under the sauce. Then that's the whole secret, which I honestly think is kind of genius, because then maybe you don't have to worry too much about the sauce falling off the edge. I don't know what effect it has on the taste of the pizza. But Mexicali cuisine, you can't deny that some good Mexican food can change your life. It's delicious. Well, thank you all so much for voting. We've actually gone through every single question for the week, all 7 questions, which means there's only one thing left to do, and that is the championship round. Woohoo! Yes, so this is where we're going to select the weekly champion for the entire week, the very best answer. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a quick review of all of our answers so far, and then we're going to vote on which one you liked the absolute best, which one made you the hungriest, which one you thought was the most delicious, or which one you thought was the smartest. Let's get into it.
Funyuns, man. Can't live without Funyuns. I know that might be the worst chip that you could eat. It might be the unhealthiest chip out there, but it's my favorite. And every time we go on a road trip, always get Funyuns. It's tradition now.
So Brand is answering the question, what is a junk food that you just can't live without? He can't live without Funyuns, and I get it.
So a food they make where I live that you can't get anywhere else is, personally, I don't have anything special around me, but my mom's cooking. She cooks the best Filipino food ever. Ask my cousins, ask anyone else. I personally always thought that I was biased because she's my mom and her food is automatically better to me than anyone else's, but genuinely her Filipino food is the best food I've ever had in my entire life, and you just can't get it anywhere else. So
yes, so V Diaz is answering the question, what is a food they make in your hometown that you can't get anywhere else? And she's saying it's not even just the hometown, it's her home specifically that has unrivaled Filipino food. And I guess, hey, if you're getting it from your home, if you're getting it from the source, nothing else can compete with it.
Okay. I'm going to show you the weirdest thing in my refrigerator. Keep in mind, this is at my studio that I took over from my great uncle, and he built this studio years ago. But this is the weirdest thing in the fridge. A dirty Dr. Pepper can, okay? Diet Dr. Pepper. The expiration date on the can is, expiration date on the can is September 7th, 2009. It's 2022. It's a dirty Dr. Pepper can. Why does this exist?
Why does this exist indeed? London is answering the question, what is the weirdest thing you have in your fridge? And she has an ancient Diet Dr. Pepper can.
Death row, my last meal, Five Guys. Boom. I want the big burger. Extra cheese, mayo, pickles, freaking raw onions, green peppers, jalapeno peppers, and don't forget a little mustard on there. And I'm going to get the fries Cajun style with the sweet tea. That would be my death row meal. Beautiful. I'll lick my fingers after that juicy burger too.
Ill Options is painting a finger-licking picture with his answer to what would your last meal ever be if you could choose it? Five Guys. Boom.
My last three meals on repeat, I would have a big old breakfast with corned beef hash and toast and eggs. Delicious. I would have tofu pad thai because I literally don't think I could live without tofu pad thai. It's my favorite food. And then mac and cheese was my childhood favorite food, and that's never gonna ever not be my favorite food too. So
So we got mac and cheese, we got tofu pad thai, and we have a pretty classic breakfast with bacon and eggs and hash browns from Sadie, who is answering the question, if you could have 3 meals on repeat for the rest of your life, if you could only have those 3 meals, what are you having for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Good setup.
When it comes to coffee, freshness is key. So fresh ground is good, but fresh roasted is even better. It's like the difference between a fresh baked cookie and one that was baked a day ago. Completely different. My favorite is a Tasmanian peaberry that's been fresh roasted and then lightly crushed and cold brewed. Cold brewed doesn't kill any of the caffeine or the flavor, so you get that great punch, great flavor, and the greatest cup of coffee, in my opinion. Fresh roasted, cold brewed.
So Rev Wills is giving college level education on how to make the perfect cup of coffee. And he's saying Tasmanian peaberry, along with fresh grounds, fresh everything. I wonder if K-cups count as fresh. Maybe. We'll have to ask Rev Wills, but for now, he is giving us truly a masterclass in how to make coffee.
I would love to cook with my Haitian grandmother. You feel me? She had passed away a long time ago, but she was amazing at cooking. My mom told me when I was younger, so I would love to cook with her. Cook some good Haitian food, rice and chicken with some fried plantains.
Mm. Yes, so Demetrius is answering the question. If you could spend 2 hours in the kitchen cooking with anyone living or dead, who would you cook with? And he is cooking with his grandmother and making some Haitian food. Love it. And then this question was very emotional, so congratulations, Demetrius, on making it to this final round. Oh, it's time to vote, everyone. We've got all 7 answers for this week, and now it's time to choose your weekly champion. Vote in the chat by typing vote space and then the number. Yes, there's so many incredible answers. This was a really good week. I know that I'm hungry. I'm teary-eyed. I laughed my butt off, and now I have some good coffee tips. But now it's time to choose your favorite. I don't know how you're going to choose. I don't know how. Yeah, I'll talk about Chapel Roan in a second, but I think the celebrity one is also good, like the Who in the Kitchen. Oh, whoa. So we have the winner for the week is Rev Wills with his coffee class, his coffee answer. I get it. Listen, I don't think we've ever been taken to class quite this way on a QOTD, but between the Tasmanian peaberry, the cookie metaphor, he just had a very perfectly crafted answer. So I support you all. Congratulations, Rev Wills. You are the weekly champion for Food Week. Well, parting is such sweet sorrow, but unfortunately, we have to say goodbye to Food Week. I think everyone's stomachs, everyone's hunger levels just took a sigh of relief. So that way, because now we're not going to make them hungry anymore. But with the saying goodbye to Food Week, we are now saying hello to a new weekly theme, which is so exciting. This week, our theme, which is starting tomorrow on Friday with a new question, is about movies. Yes, it's movie week once again, with films like Inside Out, Twisters, and Kinds of Kindness, and many other hit movies coming out this year. It is a good time to talk about the big screen. So we're talking about your favorite actors, the movies you cannot wait to see, the movies that have had a big impact on you, and we are even talking about some fictional universes and what it would be like to live in them. I know I'm pumped as a movie person to talk about all things movies. It's my favorite topic. So I definitely tune in next Thursday at 1 p.m. for that show. But to get even more specific, I know you all aren't satisfied with just the theme. So we're going to get into what tomorrow's question is. And it is the following. What is a movie scene that makes you emotional every time you watch it? I think this is obviously, if we're going to talk about movies, we're going to have to talk about the best movie scenes that we've ever seen. And for this question, we're not just talking emotional, like sad, like we might be talking about the montage from Up. We might also talk about if there's a movie that made you very scared, like Smile or Hereditary. If there's a movie scene that made you laugh out loud, like Theater Camp. I know there's a couple of scenes from that movie that I literally burst out laughing when I watched it. But we're talking about just movie scenes that you love that stick in your mind for some reason or another. I love that question. There's going to be a lot of good scenes in it. So that is for tomorrow, though. That question will come out tomorrow at midnight on QOTD.beyondtheair.com. Remember, everyone, you can play QOTD at any time. You can watch, you can vote, you can record, or you can play any of our other Be on the Air games. For now, also be sure to subscribe so you can get tomorrow's announcement. We're going to post a video tomorrow at like 9 a.m. on the YouTube channel. So subscribe so you get that in your feed. Thank you all so much for watching. I've been JJ with the weekly finale, and I cannot wait to see you all on TV. Bye, everyone. See you all next week, Thursday at 1 p.m.